अस्सलाम वालेकुम। प्रोग्राम एम्बेसी रोड में खुश आमदीद। नाज़रीन, जैसे आपको मालूम है कि अमेरिका ने यरूशलेम को इसराइल का दारुल हुकूमत तस्लीम कर लिया है और उसने अपना सफारतखाना भी यरूशलेम में मुंतकिल करने का फ़ैसला किया है। अमरीकी सदर ट्रंप के इस फ़ैसले से दुनिया भर के मुसलमान गम और गुस्से का इज़हार कर रहे हैं। उन्होंने एहतजाज शुरू कर रखा है, पाकिस्तान से लेकर सऊदी अरब तक और सऊदी अरब से लेकर तमाम दुनिया के जो इस्लामी ममालिक हैं उनमें इस पर एहतजाज किया जा रहा है। पाकिस्तान के मुसलमान और दुनिया भर के मुसलमान क़िबला अव्वल से एक जज्बाती वाबस्तगी रखते हैं। उनकी अक़ीदा ये है कि क़िबला अव्वल जो है वो फ़लस्तीन का हिस्सा है और फ़लस्तीन ही का ये हक़ है कि यरूशलेम जो है उसका दारुल हुकूमत हो। लेकिन सदर ट्रंप ने यह फ़ैसला करके मुसलमानों के जज्बात को सख्त ठेस पहुँचाई है। इस सूरत हाल पर हम बात करेंगे पाकिस्तान में फ़लस्तीन के सफ़ीर जनाब वलीद अबू अली से और उनसे पूछेंगे कि उनके क्या जज्बात हैं और दुनिया में मुसलमानों ने जिन जज्बात का इजहार किया है उसके बारे में उनकी क्या राय है। Ambassador, thank you very much for joining us in this program. This is a sad moment for the entire Islamic world that the President of the United States, Mr. Donald Trump, has decided to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, and I'm grateful to you and to WAC TV for giving me this opportunity. Just to clarify our position towards this very sad moment. Friday today is a very sad day for not just the Palestinians, for the whole Arab and Muslim world, and for all those who believe on democracy, who believe on justice, who believe on the international law. What had happened through this declaration of President Trump is a totally violation of the international law. The major question that can be asked directly to the American administration, to the presidency, to the international community, who authorized President Trump for such declaration? Did he think much about fairness, justice, about the feelings of 1.5 billion Muslims around the world? Did he ever thought that he had put the American interests in risk?
Yes.
Of such a decision that he had made? Did anybody anymore trust the American administration to be a moderator for peace talks or peace negotiation? Who is going to trust the Americans anymore, at least from our perspective, of being intermediating between us and the Israelis? America as a member of the Quartet, America as a member of the 5 major, big countries who are supposed to be sponsoring the peace talks and the peace negotiation, who have been involved in the peace negotiation for more than 2 decades.
And the settlement of this issue.
And they know better than anybody else around the world that settlement in the Middle East, the core issue is putting an end to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. When President Trump became an Israeli more than the Israelis, when he had taken one side, who is going to trust him anymore of being involved in achieving a peace settlement in the region?
But Ambassador, what he said, the President of the United States, Donald Trump, while making this announcement that they're shifting their embassy to Jerusalem, he said that I am now putting in practice, or I am now carrying out my commitment, my election promise, to practice.
President Trump and the American administration knows very well that Jerusalem is an occupied territory. And as per the UN resolutions, Security Council resolutions, if we go back to 242 and 338 as a base for the peace negotiation since Madrid conference and the Oslo
peace
treaty, process,
yes.
Jerusalem is an occupied territory. I mean, the issue is not shifting an embassy. The issue is recognizing Jerusalem as a capital of Israel.
Yes.
This is the main issue. The issue is, since this territory, based on 242 and 338, 1967 borders, when the Palestinians had accepted the two-state solution, which is based on 242 and 338, they gave the maximum. Until we reach a final, negotiation, and we sign a peace treaty between us and Israel, I don't think anybody has the right, according to the international law, according to those who believe on democracy, who believe on achieving a final solution to this struggle, the oldest struggle in history, that before that, any such decision destroy all the hopes of achieving peace.
The good news is that some of the countries which were supposed to be the allies of the United States, like UK, Germany, France, and Canada, they have decided not to follow the US, and they have decided not to shift their embassies from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Do you think that this is an important decision?
It is, I think, a very important message that is being sent by so many countries around the world where they disagreed with the American administration, disagreed with Donald Trump's declaration. It is a message that can be built on. Yes, there is a change within Europe, there is a change especially within the United Kingdom. For the first time that the United Kingdom seen doing something and they disagree with what has been done with the United States of America. But will the European Union be more effective in taking a full recognition of an independent Palestinian state? Will the international community do something just to minimize the negative damage which was created by the declaration of President Donald Trump? I think we have to wait and see. As you know, the Arab League foreign ministers are going to meet on Saturday. Yes. And OIC next Wednesday is going, 57 Muslim countries are going to meet in Istanbul, in Turkey. Our leadership, our president yesterday arrived to Amman, and he is discussing with the King of Jordan, since Al-Aqsa and the Al-Aqsa Mosque is under the umbrella of the Jordanian custody. Because Jordan is supposed to be the custodian of, the
Qibla
Awwal.
Yes.
Of course, Morocco and the King of Morocco, as he chairs the Al-Quds Committee, is being very active. A strong message came out of Saudi Arabia as well, from President Erdogan of Turkey. I think President Trump and the American administration did not expect so far the reaction.
Such a strong and vociferous reaction from the Islamic world.
And they have to realize that Bayt al-Muqaddas, Al-Quds al-Sharif, Jerusalem is not the issue of the Palestinians. Yes, the Palestinians are the fighters on the ground in Jerusalem, but it is the issue of the whole
entire Islamic world. That's right. So while he has announced this very controversial decision, and it is against the international law, undoubtedly, do you think that this demonstration by the Islamic world will anyway affect the mind of Donald Trump or his administration to change the thinking or to shift that policy?
Well, I hope so. If the Americans are wise enough to think of their interest, I think they need to re-study and re-evaluate and assess what has the damages which was created after such declaration. And I do hope that the international community put more pressure on the American administration and push them towards fix what has been damaged.
Ambassador, what was the tremendous pressure on Donald Trump that he decided it? Because all other American presidents in the past, they have been sympathetic to Israel and its policy towards Palestinians, but nobody decided, nobody took a decision like this.
Well, it's not a secret, you know, from day one, everybody knows the pressure that President Trump had from the Jewish lobby within the United States of America. And we know that his daughter is married to Kushner, and Kushner is a Jew, and we know how much...
Leader of the Jews.
Yes, and we know how much linked, to the Israeli government, the present Israeli government, and we know who had financed, the
campaign
of President Trump.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, during even his campaign, we know all that he created so many enemies, and he took the side of Israel, as well as so many other predecessors of President Trump. But they were trying to balance the relationship, maintaining their interests in the region in the Middle East, and maintaining good relations with their alliance in the Middle East and the Arab world and the Muslim world. But unfortunately, Donald Trump decided just to destroy all
those efforts,
and he took one side. And he, as I said earlier, he became an Israeli more than the Israelis.
Master, do you think that this decision of President Trump has destroyed the prospects of creating two states? You know, that has been under discussion for quite some time, and people thought that this is the only viable solution of the Palestinian issue.
Well, the two-state solutions is the only solution which can be implemented to put an end to this conflict. And two-state solution was built on international resolutions, UN resolutions 242 and 338, which consider Jerusalem as an occupied territory, which must consider that this is based on negotiation. But he gave, President Trump himself had gave himself the right to decide and ignore all the UN resolutions, ignore the peace negotiation between Palestinians and Israelis, ignore the members of the quartet who are supposed to be partners with him in deciding, since they sponsor the peace talks and the peace negotiation. He gave himself the right just to declare that Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. And how is that can be for any normal citizen, whether it's in Palestine or in the Arab world or in the Islamic world or anywhere in Europe or in America, in Australia, anywhere? How can you trust the American administration to be part of any peace negotiation or peace talks?
Master, in your estimation, did President Trump take this decision on his own, or with the help of his small coterie of his advisor, or he didn't take the other countries, other major allies into confidence before taking this decision?
I always personally believe that the United States of America is ruled through an institution and through a system. Unfortunately, with what has been declared by President Trump, had let me think too much that where is the American system that we used to, and where is the American institutions? He just made a decision, and he declared that, and he ignored everybody.
Bypassed everything.
Else, yes.
Bypassed the entire system.
Exactly.
थैंक यू बेस्टर। नाज़रीन, एक मुख्तसर ब्रेक लेते हैं। ब्रेक से वापसी पर हम पाकिस्तान में फ़लस्तीन के सफ़ीर से मज़ीद बातचीत करेंगे। सदर ट्रंप ने यरूशलेम को इसराइल का दारुल हुकूमत करार दिया और अपना सफारत खाना तल अबीब से यरूशलेम मुंतकिल करने का ऐलान कर दिया है। इससे दुनिया भर में एहतजाज की एक लहर जो है वो उभर रही है, और मुसलमान जो है वो इस पर सख्त एहतजाज कर रहे हैं, सख्त गुस्से में है। और ये पाकिस्तान में फ़लस्तीन के सफ़ीर से वो हमें बता रहे हैं कि दुनिया में जो कुछ हो रहा है, मुसलमान दुनिया में उम्मी तौर पर आलमी सतह पर जो हो रहा है उस पर उनका क्या रद्द अमल है। द इस्लामिक वर्ल्ड obviously is very unhappy, angry over this decision. But are you satisfied with the reaction of the Islamic world? And do you think that this reaction is enough to put pressure on the US to change its mind?
A very important question, and let me start with Pakistan. And to be frank with you, I am really satisfied so far with the reaction of Pakistan on the governmental level, presidency, prime ministers, foreign office, all political parties, and I mean it, all political parties in Pakistan, all the Jamaat Islamis, all the Islamic groups, Islamic leaders, the Ulama Council, everybody in Pakistan since day of before yesterday, my telephone received so many calls, so many contacts, and I carried out so many interviews, so many meetings on all levels. So I'm really satisfied in regards to Pakistan and the reaction of the Pakistanis towards this important issue, because this convinced me more and more that the issue of Bayt al-Muqaddas, the issue of Jerusalem, is the issue of every single Muslim. Not just in Pakistan or in Palestine, all over
the world, yes.
Reaction so far, a very strong message. I think the first message came out through President Erdogan's of Turkey, and they've agreed to host the OIC
meeting
in Istanbul. The reaction from all Arab countries, whether it's in Saudi Arabia, Jordan, in Morocco, in Egypt, in Lebanon, and Tunisia yesterday, in Algeria, and Sudan, all Arab and Muslim countries had reacted strongly. I'm expecting more. I'm expecting today is Friday, that after the Jum'ah prayer, all capitals will react and take an appropriate action towards this catastrophe which has been created by the
Pakistan's National Assembly passed a resolution against this decision of
all parliamentarians, all senators of Pakistan, everybody in Pakistan. Really, I appreciate so far. So many senators, so many parliamentarians, ministers had contacted me, and they shown their solidarity with Palestine, and they had shown they were condemned. The declaration of Al-Bayt al-Muqaddas as a capital of Israel.
But this reaction by the Islamic world, going on the streets, demonstrating their sentiments in public is one thing, but doing something which could really put pressure on the US administration to change the mind and not to implement the decision that they have made.
I do hope that the outcome of the OIC conference will come up with some practical, measures which can really convince the American administration from one side and the international community to have some practical measures to avoid the American administration implementing this declaration. Will the OIC countries or the Arab League or the international community boycott some of the American interests? Will they put real pressure on the American administration just to let them realize that their interests are in risk? Will the international community put pressure on the American administration just to ask them to be fair towards looking through two eyes, not through one eye, to the longest and the oldest struggle in the Middle East? American administration and the international community know very well that settlement and peace in the Middle East depends on putting an end to the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. without having an independent Palestinian state with Jerusalem as its capital, Israelis will never enjoy peace.
Right. Ambassador, as it is well known that this decision is against the international law, so what legal measures could be taken to stop this decision to be implemented?
You know, we are members of the Supreme Court, and I think our leadership is looking towards all options, and all options are open. I know we had submitted a request to the Security Council, and our leadership is doing its best, you know, to do whatever can be done on all levels, including The Hague, including the Supreme Court in The Hague. And I think, in my opinion, we will not hesitate in using all the efforts we can just to stop this kind of unfair declaration which has been announced by President Donald Trump.
The European Union, as you have pointed out, is one of the sponsors of peace talks in
Member of the Quartet, yes.
Yes, Quartet, and they've been putting in a lot of efforts to resolve the issue of Palestine.
True.
And some of these countries have taken a decision which is appreciable from Palestinian point of view, from the Muslims' point of view. But do you think that they will remain steadfast on this, they will remain committed to it, or sometime, you know, in the future, the US will put them under a tremendous pressure?
I hope, as I told you at the beginning, that the European Union increase its efforts and support their role as a member of the Quartet to be fair in staying at the same distance of all parties in the region. What came out of Moscow, what came out of the Russians so far, what came out of China as well.
Beijing, yes.
Beijing is promising signals, as well as the European Union. And
plus Canada.
Plus Canada, plus so many countries who were very close to the US and to Israel as well. Yes. They had shown that negatively they reacted towards the declaration. As I told you, it's too early just to judge now, but let's be patient and wait. And
optimistic.
See. Yeah, and we will continue to be optimistic. We will continue to be patient. We believe in our rights, and we believe that we have a lot of support, I mean, from the international community. And I do hope that the international community continue to provide its support to achieve a final an end to this longest and oldest struggle.
Some analysts think that this decision of President Trump could trigger violence and, you know, could trigger incidents of terrorism and other kind of things that could happen. Do you agree to this?
I 100% agree with this, and I'm very much worried that such declaration will encourage extremism and will encourage terrorist attacks, because they must realize that any action will
produce a reaction. Yes.
And I don't think, although I don't believe that violence is a solution, and I will never accept that through violence things can be sorted out. We believed on, as I told you, in peace negotiation, and we believed on two-state solutions, and we believed trusted the international community who will host and be the witness of peace negotiation between us through the two-state solution. But unfortunately, all efforts during the last more than 2.5 decades, I mean, negotiation for negotiation only without any results, and our people in Palestine, whether in the West Bank or in Gaza, and even in the diaspora, are suffering so much because of the longest struggle, you know, that any nation had in history.
Do you expect any concrete steps from two major organizations, the OIC and the Arab League? Their meetings are to be held, and will they be able to produce something tangible, concrete, so that it could be used to convince the US that they have taken a wrong, unjust decision?
I hope. I don't want to be pessimistic. I will continue to be optimistic. I mean, and I don't want to judge things before it does happen. Tomorrow, the Arab League, foreign ministers will meet, and on Wednesday, the OIC summit will take place. And I do hope that they will manage to come up with a very practical measures which can convince the American administration just to stop implementing what has been declared by President Trump.
Your appreciation of, or your evaluation of the reaction shown by President Tayyip Erdogan of Turkey, this seems to be a very strong reaction, although Turkey is a part of NATO, but their reaction has been very, very strong.
You know, Turkey is considered part of the Middle East countries, and they do have diplomatic relations with Israel. And through President Erdogan, he himself said that if the declaration implemented, then the diplomatic relation with Israel can be affected. Yes, it was a strong message from President Erdogan. I do hope that Turkey continue to play its role as a member of the OIC countries, as a member of the NATO. Turkey is a very supportive country, similar to Pakistan, to the Palestinian cause, and they always supported our cause and our people. And we do account much on Turkey that they can be very effective on, playing a major role towards convincing the American administration and convincing President Trump to pull back of the declaration he made.
Other organizations of human rights and the organizations, international organizations, which keep reacting towards this kind of unjustified decisions which are against the international law, they have not come out with any reaction.
So far, yes, they did not. But, and previously we always mentioned the human rights institutions. All the human rights institutions are represented in Palestine, and on a daily basis they witness the violation of human rights law against the Palestinians by the Israeli occupier forces. And we know so many institutions were in favor of the Palestinians because on a daily basis they witness the Israeli violation. Unfortunately, we were victims of the double standards as Palestinians. We were victims of not implementing so many resolutions, UN resolutions taken. Lately in the General Assembly, just a few days ago, so many countries out of the international community voted in favor with Palestine, and about 9 resolutions were taken by the General Assembly, and the votes were above 150 countries as supportive to Palestine. I hope that through the international institutions, which is actually a challenge for the Palestinians, have been joining many of the international institutions and organizations, because we believe through the international law and through the international institutions, so many things can be achieved to protect the rights of the Palestinians and to stop the Israeli violations against
the Security Council meeting has also been called. What do you expect at that meeting?
I hope that they come up with, we know that whenever we go to the Security Council,
it is vetoed.
The United States veto is waiting for us, but that doesn't mean that we will never try and do our best through the international institutions.
The UN General Assembly and the Security Council, can they put pressure on the US on this issue because it is violative of international law?
Well, the UN, as you know, and the Security Council, UN Security Council are institutions which represent the whole international community. And they represent the international community. And if the international community is very much keen to protect its institutions, then they have to implement all resolutions taken out through these institutions.
Thank you, Ambassador. We'll take a short break. नाज़रीन एक मुख्तसर ब्रेक लेते हैं. ब्रेक से वापसी के पर हम पाकिस्तान में फ़लस्तीन के सफ़ीर से मज़ीद बातचीत करेंगे. वो हमें बता रहे हैं कि किस तरह दुनिया ने रद्द अमल का इज़हार किया, ख़ास तौर पर इस्लामी दुनिया किस तरह इस पर रद्द अमल का इज़हार कर रही है, और जो इंटरनेशनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं वो किस तरह का है. फ़लस्तीन के सफ़ीर जनाब वलीद अबू अली से, और वो हमें बता रहे हैं कि अमेरिका ने जो फ़ैसला किया है यरूशलेम को इसराइल का दारुल हुकूमत तस्लीम करने का, उस पर क्या रद्द अमल है और उनकी क्या इसके ऊपर रिएक्शन है और वो कैसे इसको देख रहे हैं. The other issue is that since this decision has put all efforts to create peace in the region and to solve the issue of Palestine, do you think that the process is stalled or destroyed, or that will continue?
Dear brother, let me make it clear. President Trump, American administration, international community must realize that there is no peace, no settlement in the region without an independent Palestinian state. And no Palestinian independent state without Jerusalem as its capital. This is a core issue. This is a very sensitive issue. No single Palestinian, Arab or Muslim individual will accept. We gave the maximum as Palestinians. When we accepted 1967 borders, this is the maximum that any Palestinian would accept, but with Jerusalem as the capital. Donald Trump can declare what he wants, and he can decide what he wants. But from the
It will not change the reality on the ground.
Reality is on the ground.
Yes.
Jerusalem is our capital. And as a person, I'm telling you, my house back in Palestine is in Jerusalem. In Jerusalem. And this is my personal right. And I am a member of the Palestinian community. I'm a member of the Palestinian nation. No peace can be enjoyed, can be celebrated in Palestine without an independent Palestinian state and Jerusalem as its capital.
The Christians, the Christian community living there, they've also reacted. They haven't accepted this decision of the US president. How do you look at it?
Christian community are suffering. When our president contacted the Pope in Vatican, and he spoke to him directly about it, before the inauguration of Palestine embassy in Pakistan, our president was in the Vatican and he inaugurated our embassy, a full recognition of the Vatican of an independent Palestinian state. Christians are affected as much as the Muslims in the holy city of Jerusalem. The issue of Jerusalem, yes, it is Qibla Awwal. Yes, it is Al-Bayt al-Muqaddas. But as well...
It is sacred for Christians as well.
As well.
Yes.
And the distance between Bethlehem and Jerusalem, we talk about 6 miles, 9 kilometers. So its geography is one. Christianity in Palestine is represented, whether it's through the churches or through the territories, through the properties that they have in Jerusalem. So they are affected as much as the Muslim Ummah is affected.
The Pope's reaction to this, Pope Francis has come out with a very strong statement and reservations on the decision.
Exactly. The response, and the reaction of the Vatican towards the declaration as well is not less than any other reaction came out from many of the international community's capitals.
The Islamic world, particularly OIC, will they launch a campaign in the Western world particularly, and they will try to convince the Western intellectuals, the intellectuals and the human rights organizations and other political activists, so that they also become active and champion the cause of Palestinians, which is a just cause.
Unfortunately, ununified Muslim Ummah and unified Muslim countries gave the opportunity to Benjamin Netanyahu and his cabinet to act as they want. If this Ummah is united, if the Muslim Ummah is united, I think they can be, the biggest forum among all, the globe, forums, OIC. Just imagine if the 57 countries are united, how much power they have. How powerful they are.
Tremendous power.
But since all these countries are busy with their own priorities, and as you know, particularly the Middle East is facing so many challenges at the moment, whether it's in Iraq, whether it's in Syria, Yemen, and Libya, the major, conflict between Iran and Saudi Arabia. They created the Shiite and Sunni issue, and they kept us busy with so many other
challenges,
minors,
yes.
And these minor issues, gave Benjamin Netanyahu and his government an excellent opportunity to do what they want, and they succeeded in putting the Palestinian issue, to become a secondary issue. But all in all, they know very well, whether it's in Israel or in America or anywhere in the world, that the core issue of the settlement is the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. Without having a fair, comprehensive peace agreement signed with the Palestinians, they will never enjoy peace.
But Ambassador, you have mentioned the Shia-Sunni divide, but on this issue of Jerusalem, the Shia and Sunni are together.
Is Al-Aqsa Mosque Shiite or Sunnite?
Who?
Al-Aqsa Mosque.
Yeah, it belongs to everybody. So I think they are all united, and I think Iran and other countries have equally reacted in a strong way against this decision.
I always believe that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was not a Shiite and was not a Sunnite.
Yes.
He's a Muslim. And all Khulafa al-Rashidin were Muslims. This issue of Shiite and Sunni was created just to serve some political agendas. And the issue is this Muslim Ummah must be one and must
Yes.
be united. Must be united. We as Palestinians, our Palestinian nation, all Sunnis, we have no Shiites. But at the same time, why should we create situation, Shiites and Sunnis, and we have a conflict among each other? We are all as Muslim Ummah are losers, and Israelis are the winners. We must be united. Whether you are Shiite, whether you are Sunnite, I don't care. We have to act as Muslims and to protect our nations and our interests.
This brings me to another question, that Hamas and PLO, they were trying to be together and they were trying to reconcile their differences. This decision of the US president, will it create a divide again, or how will Hamas react to this?
Absolutely, we are united. Reconciliation took place between Fatah and Hamas. Palestinians are one in front of the Israelis. Our main enemy is Israel and the Israelis. Conflict or disagreements or whatever you want to call it, among brothers can be sorted out. The main challenge we have as Palestinians is occupation. We want to get rid of the Israeli occupation, and then we can sort out our internal issues. The relationship between Fatah and Hamas is a Palestinian issue. It can be sorted out within the Palestinian house. It has nothing to do with anybody, outside the Palestinian house. It can be sorted out easily. Whether you are Hamas, whether you are Fatah, we all are Palestinians, and we can sort out our own issues. Our main challenge, our main struggle is with the Israeli occupation.
Prime Minister Netanyahu seems to be very, very jubilant and very happy over it. Will his happiness continue for a long period of time, or he will come to face the realities?
sooner or later, Benjamin Netanyahu or any Israeli leader, they know realities on the ground, that happiness can only be celebrated, can be enjoyed only when we put an end to this struggle on the ground. Of course, with such declaration, Benjamin Netanyahu and his cabinet are celebrating what better, support they can expect
From the US.
From the US more than this, but they know very well that this will never be for a long period of time. This will be.
It's not going to be eternal.
No,
It's
no.
not going.
They know realities on the ground. They know that they tried their best to get rid of Palestinians. They tried their best to ignore the Palestinian rights, but they know very well as well that realities on the ground are different. The international community sympathize and support the Palestinians. And if we can't achieve it, don't worry, our sons or our grandsons will achieve it. Palestine is ours, Jerusalem is ours, Jerusalem is our capital, and there will be no settlement in the region without enjoying Al-Quds Sharif as a capital of an independent Palestinian state.
थैंक यू बेस्टर। नाज़रीन, आज पाकिस्तान में फ़लस्तीन के सफ़ीर जनाब वलीद अबू अली ने अमरीकी सदर डोनाल्ड ट्रंप के इस फैसले पर कि वो यरूशलेम को इसराइल का दारुल हुकूमत तस्लीम करते हैं और अपना सफारत खाना तल अवीव से यरूशलेम मुंतकिल करेंगे, इस पर उन्होंने गुफ्तगू की है और बताया है कि इस्लामी दुनिया ने जिस रद्द अमल का इज़हार किया है वो उस पर खुश है, मुतमईन है और उनका ख्याल है कि अमेरिका के बहुत से एलाइज ने, उनके हलीफ मुल्कों ने, जिनमें बरतानिया है, जर्मनी है, फ्रांस है और कनाडा है, उन्होंने भी उनके इस फैसले से इख्तलाफ किया है। इस तरह से ये फ़लस्तीन के लिए एक अखलाकी फ़तह है, ये उनका कहना है। इसी के साथ ये प्रोग्राम ख़त्म होता है। जावेद सिद्दीक को इजाज़त दीजिए। खुदा हाफिज़। Thank you very much, Ambassador. Pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.